Hi guys, I'm here to read another story. I've got two stories I'm going to read to y'all today. This first one is called Fancy Nancy and the Boy from Paris. This is our front cover and our back cover, and this is the spine of the book. I almost always get to school early, but on Monday I am tardy. That's a fancy word for being late. I come in and I saw a new kid. He's standing next to Miss Glass. Robert comes from Paris, Miss Glass is telling everyone. He just moved here. Paris. Paris is a city in France. It is gorgeous. That's a fancy word for beautiful. Bonjour, I say in the book nook. In French, that means hello. I am Nancy. I never met anyone from Paris before. I speak slowly so he will understand me. It's really nice there, Robert says. I miss it. He has a book on cowboys. He probably wants to learn all about this country. I want to go there someday. I show him my book. It is about a dog in Paris. Do you like the United States? Yes, said Robert. Don't you? Well, yes, I do, I said. I've lived here all my life. Then Mrs. Glass puts a finger to her mouth. Shh, this is not talking time, she says. This is reading time. On Tuesday, I sit next to Robert at lunch. Have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower? I asked him. Robert nods and says lots of times. Our house was near it. I tell Robert, I know all about the Eiffel Tower. There is a poster of it in my room. I know lots and lots of stuff about Paris. I share some of my lunch with him. These are donut holes, I said. Robert gives me a funny look. Well, I know that. I've eaten donut holes before, silly. That night, I tell my mom and dad all about Robert. He is so nice. He speaks English, and I want to be his friend. How do you say friend in French? The word is ami, my mother says. You say it just like this. Ah, me. I love French. Everything sounds so fancy. Why don't you ask him over to play, my dad says. So the next day I do. We can play soccer. Did you play soccer in Paris? Sure, all the time, Robert said. I'm a good kicker. I can come over on Friday. On Thursday, it is show and share. Robert brings in a toy horse. It is brown and white. My grandpa has a horse like this. Then Robert passes around a photo. I miss her a lot. Her name is Belle. In French, Belle means beautiful. Belle, I say to myself. Now I know another French word. On Friday, Mom is at work. Mrs. Devine picks us up from school. Mrs. Devine lives next door. Robert is from Paris, I tell Mrs. Devine. At home, we make a tent in the yard. We pretend there are bears outside. We pretend to be scared. That's terrified. That's a fancy word for scared. Then we play soccer. We let my little sister play too. Robert is a very good kicker. My dog runs around the yard. That's Frenchie, I tell Robert. She's not really French, but you'll like her anyway. We go inside and I show Robert my room. This is an Eiffel Tower, I said. Well, yes, said Robert, but that one does not have a cowboy hat on it. That Eiffel Tower is in Paris, France. It is taller and it is more famous, but we have an Eiffel Tower too. Our Eiffel Tower has a cowboy hat on the top. What? Wait a minute. I'm very, very perplexed. That's a fancy word for being mixed up. You're from Paris, France, I said, aren't you? No, silly. I'm from Texas. I'm from Paris, Texas, Robert says. Mrs. Glass told everyone that the first day. Robert shows me Paris, Texas on my globe. Oh my goodness, I missed that part. Now I feel pretty silly, but not for very long. After all, I have a new Ami, even if he isn't French. So there were some fancy words in this book. And our fancy words were Ami, which means friend, belle, which means beautiful, bonjour, which means hello, gorgeous, which means beautiful, perplexed means mixed up, tardy means late, and terrified means you're scared. That was a very good book. I like Fancy Nancy books. Alright guys, this is the end of this book for today. I love you and I miss you and I hope you like it. See you soon.